Hello students, today's lesson will be on forming equations with perimeter, and our learning objective will be to be able to form and solve perimeter using algebra. Now of course we did the topic forming equations a couple of weeks ago as part of algebra, and we've been doing perimeter for the last couple of lessons. So our real life links, computing engineering mechanics, keywords more focusing on the algebra side than the shapes and length side sort of thing. So to start off with an example, now let's have a look at this shape here. First thing straight away you'll notice is rather than having numbers in centimeters or millimeters or meters, we've just been given terms. So the horizontal lines or sides are 8a and the shorter vertical sides are 3a. Now the question is asking us to form an expression for the perimeter of the rectangle. Now as we know, with perimeter it's the total of the outer lengths of any given shape. Now for this question, the lengths that we've been given are 8a and 3a, 8a and 3a again. So that's what we're going to use to add together, because this is the only information that we have. And so we as I said, we just add all the sides together, and we can write this as 8a plus 3a plus 8a plus 3a. And if you add all those a's together, just like you were when you were collecting like terms about 2 to 3 weeks ago when you were doing that lesson at the very beginning of algebra, we add those together, we should have got 22a. Okay, that should have been the expression for the perimeter of this rectangle that was given here. Now let's have a look at a slightly harder example. I'll go through this one again, but this time around we've got our vertical sides are r and our longer horizontal sides are 5r plus 2. Now same thing again, we are going to add all the sides together. So we've got 5r plus 2 plus r plus 5r plus 2 plus r. So we've gone around in like a circular sort of motion, adding all the sides as we go along. Now as discussed, we're collecting the like terms here. So first things first, we want to find how many r's are there. And if you count out, 5r plus r is 6r, plus another 5r is 11r, plus the r right at the end is 12r. So we've got 12 lots of r, and then we've got plus 2 as well, which if we add together will give us 4. So the final answer would be 12r plus 4. Okay, and that is us answering that question, forming an expression for the perimeter of the rectangle. Now, I want you to have a look at this shape and then look at the two statements that are being given. And I want you guys to decide who is correct. So I'll give you a few seconds to pause the video, have a think of it, and come back to me on who you think is the correct statement. Okay, so we should have had a real think about that now, and I just want to point out that both statements are correct, because what the character who said the perimeter is 2x plus 16, what he's done is he's actually collected the like terms. So the first statement, the perimeter is 5 plus x plus 3 plus 5 plus x plus 3. They've all been added together by the character for the second statement. So they are both correct, but I would say the bottom statement is more correct because he has also collected the like terms. Okay, so just bear. Now for this activity, if we look at the statement, the expression for the perimeter of my shape is 4x plus a. Now, for this task, I want you to sketch a square or a triangle that matches this description. So it doesn't matter how big or long your shape is, as long as they all add up to, or the expression that's formed adds up to 4x plus a. So pause the video, do a little sketch, and we'll come back together shortly with the answers. Okay, so my examples here, the first one, if we have a look, this is a square, and I have called it x plus 2. Now we know because it's a square, if one side is x plus 2, all the other sides must also be the same, therefore there will be x plus 2. And if you add those all together, that should give us 4x plus a. Another example of a rectangle, and remember it's not just this is not the only answer. There are various ways we could have done it, but this is another way we could have ended up with 4x plus a. Okay, moving on. For this activity, I want you guys to form an expression for the perimeter of this rectangle on your left, and you are going to pick one of the options. Okay, so and give a reason for it. Now remember, with this task, we're not uploading this picture onto ClassCharts. This is for your own independent learning, and the main activity, obviously, when I get to it, I'll explain what you need to do there. So pause the video, have a go at this one, and we'll come back together shortly. Okay, so the answer that we should have got was 12p plus 10. If you add the other two sides where there's no measurements given, it would have been 2p for your left side, and at the bottom it would have been 4p plus 5, and when you add those all together it would have been 12p. Now I want you to pause the video, have a go at these two, very similar to the last one, and we'll come back together shortly with the answers. So pause the video now, have a go. Okay, and these are the answers that we should have got. Nice and easy, straight. Now moving on to the more difficult part, the main chunk of the lesson. Again, we're starting off with a rectangle, and it's asked us to write an equation for the perimeter, but this time it's asked us to solve what b is. Now, if you have a look at the rectangle on the left side, the longer sides are 6b minus 7, and the short sides are 4b. Now, the first step we need to do is to form an expression for the perimeter, which is what we've been doing from the start of the lesson. When you form the expression, we would have had 6b minus 7 plus 4b plus 6b minus 7 plus 4b. Remember, when it's a perimeter, you're adding all the sides. Now, for this part, step 2, we're collecting the like terms. And once we collect the like terms, we should have ended up with 20b minus 14. Okay, and the final step is to create an equation and solve. Now it sounds quite complicated and tricky. Literally all it is that same thing, 20b minus 14, but this time all we're adding on at the end is equals 86, because it's told us the perimeter is 86. And now we can just solve it as we did a couple of weeks ago when we were solving equations. So first thing we do is we balance out, so we add 14 to each side, and we know that 20b equals 100, and then we just divide them both by 20. B should have ended up as 5. Now we've completed the question, we've found out what b is worth. I want you guys to pause the video, have a go at the one on your right, and we'll come back together shortly with the answer. Okay, so when we did step 1 and formed the expression, we should have ended up with 36d equals 72. So 15d plus 3d plus 15d plus 3d would have given us 36d, and that equals 72. And then when we divided them both, we would have ended up as d equals 2. So we're dividing them both by 36, d equals 2. Okay, now moving on to the main part of the lesson. For this main task, I want you guys to try one question from red, one question from green, and at least 3 questions from yellow. So we should be doing a minimum of 5 questions. If you're comfortable with this topic and you think you're confident and you think you'll get it right, I want you to try all of the questions on here. A key thing to remember is you need to draw the shapes out with a pencil and a ruler, and obviously label each side as whatever term is been given, and then your perimeter which goes inside the shape, and then you're working out below just as I've shown you in the examples on the previous slide. Any issues or questions, message your teacher via ClassCharts and they'll do their best to help you. And remember, you need to upload this picture to ClassCharts. And that's all for today's lesson. See you in the next video.